Five, four, three, two, one. Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of the Moon Tea Podcast, where we discuss craft, community, and the pursuit of a meaningful career. I'm John, and
I'm Hugh.
Yeah, let's see where this goes. How's your day going, Hugh?
Dude, great intro, man. For a first time, that was impressive. On point. My day is great. After that intro, even better.
I've listened to podcasts before.
You sure you didn't practice a few times? Because that was on point.
Dude, that's yeah, it's all practice for me.
All you do now in the bathroom when washing your hands, you're like,
just
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In fact, like this conversation right now is practiced.
Yes. Yes, we've been practicing for many days for this.
So yeah, I thought it would be cool to talk about like why are we starting a podcast? Maybe a brief introduction of who we are, and then try to answer the question, why should someone care?
Diving right into it. We're bringing you quality content, viewers. If you ever listen to this, you'll know. Drop off within 4 minutes or not. This will be it.
To be fair, partially figuring that out for myself, why someone would care. But I say, let's run with it and let's try to have fun, kind of see what happens.
I agree. Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this. A bit of a backstory. John is one of my closest friends, and he came up to me one day and he's like, I kind of want to explore a bit more just out of work about, things to do that make me happy and to be kind of more of a fulfilled and full type of person. And I was like, wow, what do you want to do? And he was like, I'm thinking about art. I'm thinking about maybe a podcast. I'm like, dude, awesome, man. And then someday, somehow, he reached out to me and was like, you want to join? I was like, if I get to hang out with you, yeah, man, of course. So,
dude,
I'm excited.
If I get to hang out with you, right back,
especially during quarantine. My oh my, what a thing. But I detoured. What was the point of that again? We're trying to focus on something to let viewers drop off if they don't find any interest in this. So
I don't. Yeah, let's not worry about the viewers right now. But I guess for you, other than apart from having fun with it, like what would be kind of a cool scenario with like what you get out of this podcast?
Honestly, the thing that really made me excited about this, all jokes aside about viewers, because we genuinely have probably viewership of you and me, and maybe those close to us that are just giving us pity.
Starting with 2.
Yes, and thank you for the loved ones for spending their time to get this far. But I was really interested in finding a medium of expression to have a way to kind of like just spend some quality time with someone that, one, I really like respected the opinion of, and we always have deep conversations that kind of tangent off into really random rabbit holes that go pretty deep and or sometimes very just surface level. And we were like, oh, we don't know that much. We kind of want to learn more about it. And then the goal of that is just to either at a foundational level, keep learning from one another, keep that conversation going, because it is hard when we live in multiple different states, but you like to state hop nowadays, which is pretty sweet. We'll get into that someday. And then long-time vision is kind of, where can this go? Where can this kind of conversation go? It's just kind of, if one starts a product, and I call this a product, and if one creates a product with someone that has the intention of not really like becoming famous for it, but just having a good time and also having good intentions behind it and using it as something that like passes the time in a really nice way. But with the extreme satirical, but possibly let's make this happen goal of making every single thing we do with the goal of figuring out how to get us to have tea on the moon.
Ooh.
By making an NGO one day or a nonprofit or cryptocurrency to support this that everyone has a bit of a stake in. Then we get
Ooh.
everybody to go to tea on the moon. I think it would be a fun project. Just how do we keep building community? How do we keep building our knowledge? How do we start to talk with others and start to just learn about other people's perspectives? And yeah, what about you, John? I think that was a bit of a rant, but hey, that's
Hey,
not a
I
bad
like
start.
that. I like that. And that's what we're here to do, to go on our own monologues and see if we can dig deep, figure things out. Um, so for me, the desire to make a podcast came from the initial feeling that I was consuming a lot of content, uh, and I was learning a lot, but but that was it. I was just consuming content that other people made, and I just wanted to try it for myself. It seemed like a fun thing to do. I wanted to be more creative, just because I feel like throughout life in general, things are better when you try to carve your own path, like and like have your own take and have your own style with things. Um, and you and I have our own variations of doing that. Uh, but in the big picture of things, we both ended up in a 9 to 5, uh, kind of doing the corporate slash startup life. And yeah, I think both of us are just kind of like wrestling with this idea of how do we find meaning in our work, in our careers, in yeah, like whatever we happen to be working on. And yeah, and hopefully other people can relate, although I feel like that's every millennial right now. um so yeah, uh I just want to train my muscle of building things, like, and just like unapologetically being like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make a website for it, like, yeah, let's see what happens, why not? Like, you know what, I woke up the other day, I was like, I'm gonna be an artist. Maybe I'll be an artist someday, but maybe not. But I want to try. Um, in terms of more specifically, um, I I think that people who have really cool jobs, like when I think of someone who like has the job that I want, it's someone who gets to interview cool people and like people who have done really good work. And so if we keep this going, then this kind of becomes an excuse to bring people onto the show. So in the very beginning, it'll be our friends who will be like, okay, I'll chat with you guys for an hour, sure. And yeah, I mean, even that would be pretty cool. So let's see, let's see how that goes. Um, yeah.
What a badass.
So how's your week going so far?
Been fantastic so far. It's been hard. Oh my goodness. Actually, you want a little insight? I got sued yesterday for
What?
3.5 hours. I was
You
in
got
a virtual Zoom courtroom for 3.5 hours being sued because and it's nothing too crazy, but I let me preface this. I'm a very good driver. I've never been in an accident before, never got pulled over. That's on record. And I had my first very minor 3 to 5 mile an hour fender bender where I was the person fender bendering, and that was about two years ago. And some people decided to go to one of those accident lawyers and ended up asking for $90,000 plus
Wow.
in whatever you call it. And so then Geico was like, "Yeah, no, this sounds suspicious. All three of the people, even their like 12-year-old kid, are having like it's like I destroyed their lives from just a minor thing. And we all were talking in the parking lot, and everyone was doing fine, and yada yada. Long story short, and this is just my side of the story, of course. But my oh my, it took 2 years, and we had our final the arbitration meeting yesterday for 3.5 hours, and I had a Geico lawyer, and they had a lawyer, and we had a jury slash not a jury, a juror slash arbitrator, who's another lawyer, and they went back and forth, and I had to like testify under oath, and I was like, wow, this is the first time I've ever testified under oath. The other people that were accusing me talked first and testified and such, but it was really interesting. I was like, wow, my head was like kind of spinning 30 minutes into it. I was like, oh my goodness, I have adrenaline and I'm sitting at my home chair. Yeah, it was really kind of crazy to see the nuances with which certain people kind of. Do you want to know that some the person didn't have a driver's license, and 2 years in 2017 they also were in an accident where they were rear-ended, and they also didn't have a driver's license. So like they haven't had a driver's license even since being hit, and still don't have a driver's license even to this day. And there's no reprimand for that. And there's like Arizona is interesting because it's a pure fault state or something like that, where even if they don't have a driver's license, you can't have, they can still get insurance, which just sounds fair to me to an extent. But there almost comes a line where it's like negligence in a sense, and I'm like, huh. Like California I think is a bit different, where if someone doesn't have a driver's license and you're the one that rear-ended them and you have insurance, of course, I have really quality insurance, but that being said, yeah, I don't think they can do some stuff that you're able to do in Arizona. So if you're thinking about being sketchy, I guess you can move to Arizona and play the system.
Great. We'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I've had a variation of that, but I went to court because what happened? Oh yeah, I think I rented a car, and then I something like that, and I didn't have the license and registration when I got pulled over. And so I could have mailed it in, but I didn't know how to. And there was a court date for it, and I took the day off, went all the way to court, kind of sat there for a while. And then when it was my turn, I just went, yeah, I had insurance. Here it is. I showed it to the judge, and he said, great, you can go home now.
What?
And it's pretty wild to me that I had to go through all of that to show them that I had insurance.
That sounds really weird.
But I mean, I wasn't mad. I think I was probably like 20 or something. I don't, but it was just interesting to sit there. Be like, I'm here.
Weird.
And
so wait, so you were in an accident and you had to show proof of insurance at a court?
oh no, I think I just got pulled over for rolling a stop sign or something.
I see. And then
But
you have to prove insurance then? That sounds
I think I didn't have the insurance card.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Anyways,
It's a
I
crazy
think this
process.
kind of stuff makes me I usually end up ranting about how America has too many lawyers. And yeah, we have per capita like 10x the number of lawyers as the second
You're kidding,
most
right? I'm
lawyers
not
per capita.
surprised.
I
I'm
mean,
genuinely not surprised.
don't quote me on it because I haven't looked it up in a while, but we definitely have the most per capita lawyers of any country. Um, and yeah, it's I think another interesting thing is people who like there are certain like prestigious jobs, right? So there's lawyer, architect, doctor, et cetera, et cetera. Like it sucks to be a lawyer. It sucks to be an architect. Like why are they prestigious jobs?
You think it sucks to be an architect?
Oh yeah, it sucks. I
Really?
know for a
Wait,
fact it
why?
sucks. Uh
Lawyer, sure. I can see that. They lie or fight for weird things all the time and such. But what about architect though? Like, are they? It's not ethically gray. It's not where you're fighting to win. It's
yeah, I think it's one of those jobs where the people who do it have to really want it. Like the people who are architects just didn't have any other option because they said I just don't know what else I would do. I love doing this. But I mean it's the traditional working long hours and not getting paid a lot for it.
mm,
Um, so I don't have statistics for you, but just from just from people that I've met who are in that world, um, like one person went to graduate school for it, and she had been working in the architecture world for 5, 6, 7, just several years, and she had a contract role, and she didn't have health insurance from from the firm.
wow.
And I have another friend who works 60 to 70 hours a week, and he manages people who are older than him. So he's around our age, and then one day we were like, hey, how much do you get paid? And yeah, I mean, yeah, it was less than I was expecting. So
Are they
yeah.
usually hourly salary? Probably hourly for contract.
Well, if you're full time, then salaried.
Hmm. Or if you're an
Um,
agency, I guess too, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Same thing with doctor. Like it just sucks being a doctor.
I don't know, man. I think some doctors like being doctors. Some doctors enjoy it. It depends on the profession. Because, like, becoming a doctor isn't just a doctor, though. A doctor's like, I become a pre med student, I go to med school, and then I specialize, and then I specialize again. And they kind of get more choice. I wonder how specialized you can get with the selection process in architecture. Because like one of my best friends from uh, he was he's a doctor now. Psychiatrist is the path he went down somehow. Like it was crazy. It didn't expect it, but I thought he would be some other type of doctor, but didn't know that was like technically the doctor field, and they study for many years. I had no idea. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad option. And there are a lot of people who like it fits them, and it fits kind of their goals, and like they like to study and they like to learn and they like to take tests.
I wish I were good at tests, man. Oh my goodness. Well, I probably, if I studied harder, maybe I would be speaking differently. But
um
do you think that interior designers, like I know in tech, right? I have a lot of background in tech as do you. And I feel like the modern day architect can also find such, like if someone's really unhappy in architecture, I'm like, I've only had a few interactions with people that are in that space of environmental design. And the few that I have were part of the interior design department at Airbnb, right? Because they were building out a lot of different HQs around the world, especially in San Francisco headquarters. They were building out another one on like Brandon Street a few years back, and they seemed like a really cool team. Like I don't know what architecture. I guess my understanding of architecture is a bit limited, but if people are more interested in kind of like, I don't know, they were able to design space. Like I thought that was so cool. Like they were able to use, Rhino and other type of softwares to really look at an empty space and then think about how people would move and flow through it, and like listening into those conversations here and there, and having like that just like I was in the art department on a few tables over, so I kind of like could hear sometimes, and they're like, we're really into it. And I was like, wow. But I guess working at Airbnb is kind of just broken. It's pretty broken of a company. Like their experience and facilities and amenities and like packages for like just tea in their thing, in their like $40 tea per jar times 5 in like a common is ridiculous. So I guess everyone's kind of quote unquote happy there. But I don't know. I feel like let's bring on an architect. I want to bring on an architect. That's like one of our first few people that we should bring on and learn more.
Great. We'll just say, hey, does your life suck?
Yeah.
Or does it rock?
And then let's bring on someone else. Who could we have pitted against them to kind of like mirror them, and then be like, you could have found something else that made you a bit happier, maybe a bit less money. I don't know if it's for money, but that'd be interesting.
Well, we can
no
pitting
him to no pitting.
We can start with trying to have one guest before we run with two.
Are you sure that it'll be so good? It'll be interior designer versus architect. No,
everyone wants to be on our show.
We're going to the moon, man.
Yeah, and yeah, everything I said about it sucks to be in X career is super generic, and there are exceptions to every generic thing that I say. So I will say that caveat. But hey, how's the tech? So for those of you who don't know, Hugh is a designer, mobile developer, and now product manager. He does it all. Tomorrow, what can you do next?
Not very well. Let's be real. No.
Like what are there aren't any other jobs, Hugh. You just do it all. Yeah.
Or maybe I do so many, or have done so many, because I was just so bad at each of them. I had to keep finding a new one.
I don't know. I've seen your designs. You've built apps. Yeah, I mean that's the interesting thing, because I feel like there are the few people that I work with who are extremely confident in themselves, and they're just on this rocket ship, and they're grinding away, just out there to hustle, and then there are the rest of us that are just sitting there and being like,
oh man, where's my beer? Did we open a beer yet?
The rest of us are being like, how did I end up in this room?
Dude, seriously. Oh man. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, to be honest. The tech industry is really weird. It's just anybody can kind of end in it. One of my favorite things I ever heard, I don't even know if you asked me a question, to be honest, but if you did, I don't remember it, but was like an interview from one of like those lost interviews of Steve Jobs or something. Mm-hmm. And he was explaining how the people on his quote unquote pirate ship, because he had like that pirate flag in the beginning of the Apple days, and they really felt like they were outliers and going against the grain. And it was really cool to see the kind of culture that wasn't traumatizing by him also. But
I just want to say that Steve Jobs was a dick. And it's kind of wild that he's this celebrated entrepreneur. I mean, yes, he built great product, and he was the first to kind of integrate design and product so seamlessly. But he was also a really mean person, and like seems like he was pretty unhappy. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say whether or not he was happy. I didn't know him, but he was mean to people, and so I don't look up to him that much. I'm just gonna say that because everyone celebrates him.
I agree. No, I fully agree. He was
But sorry,
genuinely. No, no, I well, let's totally tangent there. I really don't care about talking about me. Dude, Steve Jobs,
yeah.
that's the reason, that and Elon Musk, as we all know, are the reasons I went to San Francisco after graduating college, right? So,
Ah,
um,
so Steve Jobs as well.
yeah, man, I was reading his autobiography and
By
like,
Walter Isaacson.
yeah. So I was
Great
reading
book.
it.
Yeah.
I graduated. I went to a small liberal arts college near LA or in LA, I guess, but outskirts. And should have gone to Hollywood, right, to work as a slave for, um, excuse the language, not slave, as a serf, I guess, um, as a production assistant, where you just kind of like run around doing people's laundry just to like get in the door to be in the film industry, because I was a media studies major, film photography focus. And then I read Steve Jobs autobiography, well, half of it, and then I read the other half when I was there. And I bought a one-way ticket to San Francisco 2 weeks after graduating, and I heard Elon was up there too, and I was like, oh my god, these two people, what's going on here?
Great. Wow.
And then I
That is
ended up a
that's
job,
a
and
that's a great book, by the way.
which one? The
By Walter Isaacson, Steve
yeah,
Jobs
it was called
biography.
Steve Jobs Autobiography. Yeah. Dude, I love the writing style. Walter Isaacson,
Oh yeah,
good job.
he is top on the list of biographers. And
Did you read Steve Jobs autobiography? What autobiographies have you read? 'Cause I know you are reading one right
um,
now too, right?
am I?
I thought
Oh,
you
I
said
was
that
reading.
just to me last time.
Um, I I slut around with different books all the time. So.
Bad boy.
Oh, you bad.
Hey, no slut shaming here.
I I was reading uh I was reading a biography of Genghis Khan for a
Oh
while. Read it
yeah.
about halfway. That was pretty cool. And then right now I'm reading a book called Show Your Work, which is a really quick read and just says like, show your work. And I was like, okay.
That's cool. What are they
Um,
about? What got you interested in them? One or the other?
a coworker recommended the first. For somehow we were talking about Korean emperors, and then he's just been recommending podcasts and books. So that happened, and then the second was recommended by someone who does YouTube stuff, and it was just kind of what sparked his uh, foray into writing a blog and then eventually making a YouTube channel.
If I could ask one sentence that was interesting from one or the other, what is it that stuck with you? That one, sometimes you read a book and you just don't remember what it was, but if you
Oh
find
yeah,
like that one thing, it's annoying, but you're like, I guess it was worth it, you know? Was there
yeah,
anything that
and
was kind of like that one thing for you?
yeah, and after this, same question to you about the Steve Jobs biography.
Hmm.
So in the Genghis Khan biography, uh, turns out his mom, his mom has a pretty weird story. She just got married. She was like 16 years old. She just got married. She and her new husband were riding a horse to go to another village, and then these three brothers just just jumped them and said, "Hey, we want your wife." And then she went to her husband and said, like, leave while you can, and take my tunic, for you shall remember me. And then one of those brothers just married that girl. Like that that was just the common thing that happened. Like, oh shit, oh man, got got these three guys. They have bows and arrows. I guess I'll give up my wife so I can live.
Did you watch the film that I once recommended to you when I heard you reading that? But I suspect
No,
you did it.
no, I didn't.
John, what? Come on, what kind of friend? What kind of friend does that? No, I'm just kidding. There's so much out there to do and read, but I definitely suggest anyone who is not listening, watch Mongol because John is not watching Mongol. Mongol is such a good film. It's like it would be so cool. I want to read the autobiography and then watch Mongol again because it's the closest. Or if anyone has any other suggestions, like it's very raw and real of just how their culture was and how like Genghis Khan at a young age, like of his life at a young age before he became Genghis Khan, and of his family and his wife and her getting kidnapped. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was really funny. One of the things my dad really liked about it was he's the one that recommended it to me, and he was like, you know, this is actually, it's really interesting. And one interesting quote that he kind of used in his pitch was there's a part where the dad is telling Genghis, you know, at a young age, he has to pick, Genghis has to pick a wife from a number of ladies in a certain village. I guess they just had to do it to honor some type of thing. And the dad was like, you know, what you look for in a good wife, like their sense of beauty for Mongols at the time, right? Was, you know, something strong legs, like thick,
Ooh,
strong legs.
ooh,
And I
okay.
thought that was really cool. And that's what my dad was saying. It's just like, it was such an interesting insight and thought of, you know, our culture is so, you know, exaggerated in what a beauty standard it is for a beautiful woman in a very non-healthy way, I would personally say. Um,
Maybe it was
for
exaggerated back then too, but they didn't write
But
it down.
then I think that's pretty cool though. If they're saying like this lady, thick, strong
Ooh,
legs, like
she
that's
got thick legs.
right. Damn, Daniel, look at them legs. Thought that was cool.
um, yeah, I is it on Netflix? Oh,
No idea.
okay. Well, I would like to eventually watch it, and
I can look
maybe I
it up
will.
really quick. Let's see.
Uh,
Mongol on Netflix. Yes. Yeah. What were we talking about? We are talking about something. Yeah, it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, even.
what about Steve Jobs' biography stood out to you?
Oh yeah. Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can't get out of my head that he was such an asshole. Like that, the fact that you said that, I totally agree. But there are things about him that just kind of like, just continually at that age too, when I was kind of like addled, like most millennials are, for becoming, making that next big app and growing rich and famous. You know, this guy, he really was such a good marketer and brander of that type of propaganda. And I but I do want to be the devil's advocate. Like, I actually was enamored by him, even though I know, and because I've been so intimately read on him and watched so many movies and such, and watched so many like YouTube videos of people that have been with him, that have interacted with him. You know, like I've done 3+ years of research over time on him. It's crazy. It's just, I had a huge rabbit hole on him, like a lot of people do, I guess. But just the way he would talk about product, like one of my favorite facts that I truly do believe, that I believe that made him so successful, but he also struggled with it because he didn't know how to communicate very friendly and be a team player and supportive of others too, was he was, if you look at like I wish I could find this image. I've looked for it before and I can't find it online. And it's a map of nodes, and it's a map of ideators and ways in which different teams and people and pods of people and groups in an organization at Apple were creating products. And then sure, he's CEO and stuff, but different types of CEOs do different types of things. But it was interesting, and I really can't remember the exact time period that this chart was, but it just showed so many nodes interacting with each other, but a high percentage interacted through him. Like he was a person that may not have had the technical skills. He wasn't a Woz, but he had understanding while also being a person who is able to connect dots in a way that again wasn't friendly, but he had a he's definitely like a visionary, right? I like got into a bit of an argument with some other friend of mine the other day who's like not Steve Jobs, Elon Musk doesn't do anything. He's just a guy with a name, and it's all the smart PhDs under him that do everything, and he doesn't come up with anything. And I'm like, oh my god, hold me back, hold me back, you know.
Hold me
But
back.
I think,
Hold me back.
and I'm like, I like made dinner with him and the parents, and they were going. So I was like, hold me back, parents. No, I didn't say that, but yeah, it was really interesting that that's a lot of people do say that about Steve Jobs too. And I just want to, I don't know.
Mhm.
I feel like they're similar, except I don't know. I actually don't, I think Elon's pretty friendly. He seems pretty friendly on a surface level and marketing level, but he does work like a 70 to 100-hour weeks. And I hear there's culture at SpaceX and Tesla. Like if you're an employee there, they work crazy hours.
Yeah. I mean, during the Model 3 ramp up, he was talking about how he was working, what was it, like 120 or 130
Yeah.
or 140
Yeah.
hours.
Oh
And
my goodness.
come on, Elon, that's bullshit. Like, and I don't know, maybe he's maybe he's right about that, but maybe he's counting, like maybe he's sleeping in the factory and then counting all the other times.
You know,
But
let's call the first like peg in the ground. I don't know how we'll do this in the future, but like that's something I really want to discuss because we're talking about craft, community, and building what was the third one? It was building a positive, like
the
a
pursuit
good
of a meaningful career.
I love it. Yeah, pursuit of a meaningful career, right?
Ooh.
Um I really want to just talk a bit about and put a pin in for us to discuss work-life culture and the culture of bragging about how much you work. And also
Ooh.
and secondly, part B of that is bragging about how early you wake up. Because is it just me, or do you, like, unless you wake up early, cool, and you feel all good about yourself, that's great. You should. But like I get really annoyed by this type of culture that's propagated and espoused by people that are successful. And it's crazy how you never hear any other sound bites. Like I've read through, like, been looking through things all over online, all YouTube material, all these different people. You got to first early bird and gets the first worm or whatever, like I just, what do you think here, John? Tell me what your thoughts are. Cause you can tell I have feelings here.
Yeah. Um, well, I think I'm better than you because I woke up at 5:30 this
I'm
morning.
done. Done. Where's the end? End everything. Moon Tea Project canceled. Over this. I'm over it. Friendship. Where's the unfriend button? Where is it?
Dang. um, I agree, and it's not healthy. And I wish more. I mean, I think companies are starting to realize that it's not healthy to propagate this culture where you're you're working a lot of hours. There's um you're always behind. I mean, I do feel like I am always behind, but um
Same.
um but yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. It leads to burnout. Um also I find it hard to believe that that many, well, I can understand for a specific time and place it makes sense to put in a lot of hours. Maybe you have a deadline, or maybe your company is on the line. But when you think about what is sustainable and you think about how do you come up with good ideas and how do you not hate what you're doing, like there's a balance to it all. um I mean, I'm just some guy with a microphone, and meanwhile, Elon Musk has defied everything I just said. And so obviously take what I just said with a grain of salt. But uh, I, I do I definitely don't have this goal of long term trying to work the most hours, trying to wake up the earliest. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think it's hard to see why people would want to do that. Why people would not want that, right?
Yeah. The question that I want to ask, I just want to make a spreadsheet or a site. We'll have it on our forward slash, what is it? Moonteapodcast.com,
Mm-hmm.
moonteapodcast forward slash early wake up list. I don't know, something. But basically, I want people to ask when somebody says, "What time do you wake up?" When somebody says the time that they wake up, 4 a.m., 4:30, 5 a.m. or I want them to ask, "What time do you go to bed?" Like you'd have no idea how many things I've looked up, how many times I've tried to find out what is the hour that people go to bed when they espouse waking up early. To me, I strongly don't believe that the reason I believe it's a brag and not a lot of fact for a lot of people, but some people I like, even yourself, you wake up early, but I know you go to bed early, right? But I think a lot of people, if they brag about how early they wake up, should also have the gall to say what time they go to bed. Because if you go to bed at 9 a.m., 9 p.m., 8 p.m., you know, you're no better than me. You're just sleeping at different hours. But if you think you're better than me because you wake up at 4:30 a.m. and you go to bed at 12 p.m., one, I think that's totally unhealthy and you shouldn't be doing that. That's your blood pressure is going to go off the roof for most people. I I have gone down rabbit holes for sleep schedules in like different ways. I even tried one time doing like an Uberman where I go to bed and wake up every 3 hours
Oh
for
man.
45 minutes for a 24-hour period. When I was at Airbnb, I actually worked the whole night where no one else was there. And I just was sleeping every 3 hours for 45 minutes and woke up. It's a really productive night, but I like saw the cleaners at like 3 a.m. come in. It was really interesting, but totally tangential for another time if we ever do that. But yeah, I just think people shouldn't be feeling, no should or shouldn't. I just don't like the culture of the people that wake up early are the only successful ones. Um, I just don't think that's fair for people who wake up a bit later or a
I
bit
don't.
later than that.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think. I don't think people are saying that. I mean, I mean, like there are so many. There are so many. Like so much to uncover to this. Like number one, what does success even mean? And number two, like as long as you're getting enough sleep, like who cares?
Right? Seriously.
And I
Right?
don't have a number three. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean the only reason I'm waking up at 5:30 is because I work East Coast hours.
Yeah, it makes
Like
sense for
I
you.
would not otherwise. Um,
Like
but
other people who wake up early, if they're waking up for the stock market and stuff, morning bell, if that's what the game they play or the work they do, if they have overseas meetings and such like that, totally understand it. But like the fact that it's dogmatic, it's become a dogma that those who wake up early are successful without any qualifiers, without any edge cases or understanding of the nuances of that, I think just propagates already American society that's already unhealthy and working culture.
I well I think we can both disagree that people who wake up early are automatically successful. Like
But
whatever
that's what
success
people
even means.
espouse. That's what the people who are the successful ones say. If you watch like 80% of motivational videos and like people talking that are successful, this is totally non-factual and very, very, I feel this is
I feel
definitely
like
don't.
I feel like you're
I
just
just
watching David Goggins videos, and I'm just kidding.
dude, no, David Goggins is legit. He's like totally. I don't know. He doesn't. I don't think anyone would take from him a humble brag of 4:30 a.m. It's just like 4:30 a.m. David Goggins does it. Cool. The guy jumps in ice pools and runs 24 hours worth of running every hour a mile or something. I don't even know. But that guy is.
The guy
Yeah,
fights forest fires in
I'm
his free
talking about
time.
people that are just kind of like pedestal, very successful people, and just if you take a tally, I just challenge the assumption, and I would like to prove this one day. Maybe I will do the research in the next year before whatever. But I put out the challenge to look and see how many people say waking up early and correlating that to success to people saying I don't really wake up that early and correlating that to success. And those are successful people. Like if you take a tally of successful people that have a platform to talk, I just don't feel from all the things that I've ever heard more than like one person ever say, "Yeah, I wake up later, but I'm successful." And you don't need to wake up that early.
What does success even mean?
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
absolutely. We're talking about people that are really wealthy that have a platform because other people look up to them because they have a lot of money and they created a company that possibly got a really good liquidating event or something. And we're talking about people who have just societally conventional, tribalistic mentalities of how they ascended the hierarchy of power of having the ability to have quote unquote effect over other people's with their words. And you don't get that overnight. You get that through money in America a lot of the times, not only, but that's a high way to do it.
Yeah. I definitely look at it differently, and I'm
Really?
sure
Tell
you
me
do too.
more. I love this. Tell me more. Oh, oh,
Well,
oh, I thought you were about my point about how you look at it personally or about how my
well,
statement is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple for me. The people who do have fulfilling careers, the people who are doing interesting work, the people who have interesting projects are the people who have rare and valuable skills. It's pretty simple. It doesn't matter what time you wake up. And I mean, and like how the next question is like, how do you get rare and valuable skills? Um, I think it helps to be happy and healthy. So that's pretty simple things like sleep well, have a good diet, and exercise. And it helps to, uh, which is the a little bit of what our podcast is about, is to have a craft and just something that you get a little bit better at every single day for like a decade. Like chances are you're going to be pretty good at it after a decade. Um, and then I think the kind of the right way to do it is to be super focused and not have distractions when you are learning and when you are working. I think that's it.
God, I love you. What a guy. You make me so happy. That was great.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you wake up at 5 p.m. Like, um,
Truth be told, I wake up at 4 a.m., so none of that actually matters. No, I'm just kidding.
ooh,
Flex. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. But I wake up at 3 a.m.
um, but yeah, I think we have I don't know, like 10 more minutes. Anything else you want to rant about or bring up or
No, I never actually
yeah.
asked how was your week, man. Before we got into everything else.
Yeah, it's good. Same old work. We found a kind of a park nearby, so nice place to watch the sunset. There's a view of the entire uh like one side of Portland, and then there's a river that runs through it. So
Wow, that's pretty.
that's been cool. But
Oh, and also you're a an intro for John, the most important part of this whole episode. Dude, you're an incredible developer and is now as well as an artist, you know, and podcast host. I think anybody who has one day the privilege to have listened to a podcast this far will definitely just kind of, I have no doubt, will realize like, wow, what a deep and like interesting guy who also works on really cool stuff. And one day we'll get more into it. But yeah, do you want to talk a bit more about what you do professionally as a developer?
um, well, I appreciate what you said. I actually do not think of myself as an incredible developer. Like I think of myself as I'm like so many things break and I'm trying to trying to fix things and um hopefully my company likes me enough to keep me around. So I yeah, so I definitely don't think of myself in that way. And I think that's yeah, I actually used to think of myself as really smart, but the moment that I stopped doing that, I discovered that I work a little bit harder. So yeah, I'm I think my IQ is at 100. Like I actually think that I'm totally average, and I am in most ways. I think something I'm really good at is having like a high pain tolerance. So like I could run a marathon tomorrow if I really wanted to, but other than that, pretty average. And then below average in other places like emotional intelligence and but we don't
I
have to
feel
get
you
into that
there.
right now. um in terms of what I do professionally, I'm a software developer. I work at Virtue Financial, so I get to tell people that I work in finance, which gets some people excited and most people don't care. um and I outside of work, I try to be outdoors. I try to do hikes on the weekends. Um, I'm exploring this art side of things. Um, I do I do my own investing. Um, I'll say that I've beaten the S&P 500, which I'm super happy about. What else? I hang out with cool people like you. Um, and I don't watch that much TV. So like I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts. And yeah, just your average person who likes working on software, an average person who thinks about electric cars and autonomous cars and what the world could look like. All right, Hugh, your turn. Do you want to introduce
No, let's
yourself
end it. Let's end the
professionally?
episode there. That
No, we
was
have five
so
more
good.
minutes. We have 5 more
No,
minutes.
no, my goodness.
We're gonna finish with the best
No,
trifecta.
no. Wait. Um, boo-doo-doo. What me? What am I about? What do I do? Let's see. Yeah, let's see. I was a lot of things. I've had like in college I like changed my major like 7 times. I but as we know, went to San Francisco without a job, changed my profession, worked as like a recruiting coordinator for a while from the ground up, and then ended up, long story short, as a designer at my current company, Tribal Credit, which is really awesome. Funny, we're both in fintech, financial technology.
Mm-hmm.
Started as a designer there. I actually went in for a developer interview, and then the CEO was like, you seem like you can do design and development. Do you want to do one or the other? And I was like, oh, I got to choose? Sure. So I came out a designer. That was kind of funny. And then I designed stuff, UX, UI, and then went on to developing mobile apps. Tried to start up before for about a year. That was how I taught myself to code. I funded my education with the $14,000 I had in my bank that I saved up for 3 to 5 years. 3 years? No, not 3 to 5. 3 years in San Francisco, where I got paid very low wages and was living in the city, so I had like no money. And with the money and that I had, I spent it all every month for $1,000, $500 to $1,000 a month for 10 months on myself. And I ended up with $500 in my bank account, pulled out all my savings, what little I had of everything. Don't do this, children. And then ended up with the job that I have now because that startup failed, because I was egotistical and idiotic. But I learned how to dev and I learned how to design. I did a lot of it. I had a partner, and it was really fun, but it didn't go anywhere because a lot of things we'll talk about in the future. Lessons learned. Iterate quickly. Get it out there. Iterate first and just make it happen and then keep doing it. Don't just build and not release. But anyways, and then developer, built a mobile app for the company I'm at too now for Tribal. And then I've ended up transitioning recently to become a product manager. So what that means, still uncovering to the day. But on the free time, I think John forgot to mention about himself too. He likes to bike. So one day, one of my dreams and aspirations is actually to go on like a 3 to 5 day biking trip, all panniers packed with John, and camp along, I don't know, anywhere. PCH. I've already done the PCH, but I'll do it again because that was a terrible journey with like 14 little kids on. I want to do just for the homies, dude. And then, decently athletic, mediocrely intelligent, but have a zest for life, as John and I both do, and that's kind of like why we gravitate towards each other. And just interested in crypto, blockchain, open source technology, community building, just like what community even means. How do you like instigate local people to connect with local people and be more friendly with one another, especially in like a more social media age. And then also just trying to like, how do I prioritize my life? I'm such a wreck in so many ways, mentally, like physically. I'm try to keep, in shape, but there are mental struggles there too. But overall, I'm a decent person. I think I'm just like at least nice to people because I want to try to be nicer to myself. And hopefully this is fun. Yeah.
Dang. For those of you who don't know Hugh, he's actually killing it. He's just very, very, very humble. So
I think we should change our podcast to The Average Guys. That'd be a good one.
Hey, would you work at Fing? Like, would you work at a giant corporate tech company that pays a whole lot?
I feel like there's a lot of things I'd have to think about if we're being honest about it. I mean, it's not all about the money, but I think you know that. I think that was a trick question. I see what you're doing here. No, there'd be a lot of interesting factors because I definitely do believe that people are really happy at big corporations. And I think that millennial ideal and probably Gen Y, Gen Z also have similar type of dogmatic sayings that have been influenced upon them as well. Like I don't think working for the man is a terrible thing all the time. Some men or women, to be honest, let's be real here. Ooh, we're new age. Look at us go. No slut shaming, no working for the man, but the woman. Yeah, anyways. I think there's a lot of things we should unpack that one day in an episode. That seems like a fun little future thing people and myself, if we don't have anyone, doesn't really matter, but that'd be cool if we do. I'd be down to talk with you about it. That'd be fun.
Cool. Sounds like it's been about an hour, so it's a pretty good stopping point. Do you want to say the outro?
Yeah, totally. Definitely. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to the Moon Tea Podcast. Our host today, John, say hey.
Hey.
And Hugh, say hey. Hey. Are wrapping up the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And it's been a pleasure spending about an hour with you. Hopefully not too long, not too short. Diving into the esoteric and the mundane. but hopefully not too mundane. Here once a week for every week for the next 365 days, we will be having a podcast just like this, meandering down through different lanes. We'll probably take some topics soon, and we'll keep talking about craft, community, and the pursuit of building a meaningful career.